He was trying to acquire a bomb. A launchable aerial bomb. You don't defend yourself with a bomb. And that's what he was trying to get. He asked Simple Dan if he knew how to do it. Then he came to me and asked me if I know how to do it. How many other people did he go to? The only thing I'm thankful for is that none of these people stood up and went, yeah, I can do it. All of these people that he came to were decent people that all said the same thing. You are a lunatic wacko. What the fuck are you trying to do? I'll give you the rest of the story. The intelligence that was given to me was that Charles Allen Dyer was part of a larger plot to take that device to Washington, D.C. tomorrow at the Second Amendment rally. And their intent was to fire that weapon at one of the government buildings or at the government officers that were there patrolling it tomorrow, April 19th. But he still asked for the bomb that was inside the box. And that is the bottom line. He asked for the bomb. He didn't give a shit how it was packaged or what diameter tube it launched out of or what color it was or what day it was manufactured or whether it had rivets or plates. He did not give a shit about any of the above. The only thing Charles Allen Dyer cared about was the bomb. And I will testify that to any court that wants to hear it. I will sacrifice every fucking thing I have to drive to Oklahoma to stand in front of Charles Dyer, in front of his parents, and anybody else that wants to stand there, and I will confront him directly to his face. Because they had no intention of convicting him. They need him as a tool. He pleaded his ass off to get out of that jail cell. 4 months in a federal pen was good enough for him. He said, fuck this. I'm not going to spend the next 10 years in here. The entire time he's been sitting there negotiating with his handlers, the ATF and the FBI guys who have been bringing him into an interrogation room going, listen, here are your options. You can provide us with this much information and we'll give you 4 years. Or you can give us this much information, this much more information, and we'll only give you 1 year. Or you can agree to come in under a secret arrangement between us right now that you will operate as our intelligence and our informant, that you will provide us with every piece of information that you have on every group you've ever been a part of, that you will give us all the phone numbers, email addresses, names, all the places you were scheduled to go, and if necessary, you will agree to be inserted again into this community. That you will operate as our intelligence and our informant, that you will provide us with every piece of information that you have on every group you've ever been a part of, that you will give us all the phone numbers, email addresses, names, all the places you were scheduled to go, and if necessary, you will agree to be inserted again into this community. And I called Sheriff McKinney and I said, you know, this is the information that I have, this is everything that I know. This is what he came to me looking for, and these are the people that I know him to be affiliated with. And then I got transferred to Special Agent Dan Western. And he and I sat down and talked for about 2 hours. And I told him everything I knew. And then I got transferred to Special Agent Dan Western. And he and I sat down and talked for about 2 hours. And I told him everything I knew. So I'm going to obtain a copy of the transcripts and the testimony. I'm going to get a copy of the evidence, regardless of how much I have to pay for it. I'm going to get copies of all this shit, and I'm going to find out for myself exactly what happened, because this is hog shit. They let him off on purpose. They blew the evidence so that they could put him back out. I hear you, but I will promise you this also, that if the information that I obtain from that Freedom of Information Act request gives me sufficient evidence to believe that this case has been thrown, I will stop at nothing to make sure that the entire world, from every corner of it, hears it and sees it. And I will distribute it to every corner of the earth. Because it's public record. In exchange for his cooperation in further investigations and involvement with the American militia community, they fucked the evidence to cut him loose. If they wanted him, they'd still have it. And then anybody that knows anything about and to be as very well versed in the law and the Constitution as Mr. Dyer was, he would certainly teaching people how to use firearms and going and training all these people and all these exercises he was doing. I'm 100% certain that Marine Corps Sergeant Dyer knows that firearm serial numbers are not attached with riveted plates. It's site enhancement. It's the same thing they did at Wakefield and Ruby Ridge. They altered the facts in order to get him off. I've been around a lot of Marines in my day, and there's a lot of them out there that are some pretty sick pigs. You want to know what the general consensus on Dyer is right now, except for the maybe 100 people on YouTube that support him? People are now scared to death of him. I'm so goddamn pissed at Dyer, I could just punch him square in the mouth right now for being so goddamn stupid. There's a couple people out there right now that Dyer better just stay in Oklahoma. I know people who classified themselves as his friends, who to this day are still staying miles away from him. Yeah. I know somebody who he came to their house and sat down and had dinner with their family at their table, who will not touch him right now because they are so disgusted and so angry at what he's done. And the reason they will not publicly voice it is because of who they are in their community. They can't afford to sacrifice their job. Because they had no intention of convicting him in the first place, and my testimony would have been damning. Because I was a witness that could provide phone records, email records, and visual and verbal testimony that would have damned him straight to hell. Because I immediately would have called in Simple Dan 76, because all of his records would have been subpoenaed, and Dan would have then called in everybody else that he knew about. But Charles Dyer is two things on my board to my people. A liar and a thief who got off scot-free, and they are fucking infuriated about it. Infuriated. Because they can all see it too. None of us on my website were friends with Dyer. I don't give a damn what he had. Personally, frankly, if he had a 40, I wouldn't have given a shit if he had a 40mm grenade launcher. As long as it wasn't stolen. And as long as he didn't have ammo for it. If you want an empty tube, I don't give a damn if you got an empty damn tube. You can't do any damage with an empty tube. I'm going to make another prediction. He's going to have this grand reemergence. Here's this new phoenix rising from the ashes. The new J4P, the new bigger, better, stronger. And he's going to come back stronger than ever.